Nana and Papa did a TikTok video with some drunk 30-year-old tattooed people who are quite fun and are now discussing nicotine vapes with them. She asked one of the guys if he had a job, and he spent the last 5 minutes not believing Nana would ask him that and defending the fact that he has a job. LMAO. I said, it sounds awesome. Drinking the alcohol at the beach, exploring all versions of consciousness. Interesting how our alcohol experiences are always linked. Lightning strikes, frameworks die, mindsets strive for survival. The conduit shapes the revival. This image goes hard, feel free to screenshot.
Lightning strike, frameworks die, mindset strive for survival. Under a safe to revival. That's my first gift. I didn't even mean to. Literally, I just had the image of being struck by lightning and seeing like how first it affected people who wrote the Bible, then it affected Nietzsche and the death of God, and now struck me. Now I'll be the revival of God.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a useful feature that helps.
Was that you or the Voxer?
That was Boxer.
I don't know what the hell just happened.
I don't know. It just came out in a rhymy way, and of course, as as bro, my life is one big um, I feel so fucking on top of the world right now. I have for 2 days. Truly, I am good God, I am divine. I am like in truly
Are you
golden.
hearing this weird clicking and stuff?
No, yeah, I am.
What the fuck?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm about to even more. This is the very beginning of the stage. Already, my most powerful stage yet. Is no content. Um, but anyways, what I was trying to think of this day was that Voltaire. That's who I'm on right now, and he is a poet. Or poet. Works over the philosophy of school and right.
I can't hear that at all. Voltaire? That's interesting. I don't even remember anything about Voltaire, so that's fascinating.
That doesn't.
The story of philosophy, Will Durant. Okay.
They're goddamn tremendous. Like, incredible. Incredible. Some of the best content I've come across in a long time. Very good. Gay.
Hi.
Speak for longer.
Yes, I will speak for longer.
Yeah, it's all good. Let's see. Black hole. I see. So, uh, every time I run this new version of Black Hole, I have a
Holy shit. I was on Black Hole fucking 2021? God.
No, this is. I think next year.
No. Or 22 it is. 05, 23, 22. So this is the 5th month of 2022. Interesting.
allergical reaction. Um, Used to like every once in a while I get this reaction, which is tears immediately. They don't actually ever come out of my eyes really, but my eyes well up with tears, and my nose starts running, as you can hear. Bad. It's very interesting. It's like it actually is targeting a neurochemical spot in my brain, which makes me feel like which makes my whole like face start dripping. It's fascinating. Yeah, I mean it's like yeah, it's very in line with music, specifically dubstep. Uh, it's Black Hole. It's a new Black Hole. Black Hole used to try and be Orbify plus Orbify all layers, um, which like it was weird because Orbify now with definition and frameworks is basically to compare against the backdrop of infinity, and used to I would try to compare against the backdrop of infinity while simultaneously uh while simultaneously, fuck man, I forgot what I was talking about. Give me just a moment. Yeah. Yeah. So used to, I would try to do compare it against the backdrop of infinity, while simultaneously, damn, every time I say that, it makes me forget the other part. Compare against the backdrop of infinity, and then there was black hole, which is suck everything in. It's weird. There are notes of Orbify or compare against the backdrop of infinity. It's definitely not included, but they're not the same, and Orbify doesn't include it completely, which is just sort of interesting. Or I'm sorry, black hole doesn't include Orbify completely, but black hole, that's what's been triggering these reactions. Every time I run black hole lately, and I've actually had two different frameworks running a black hole as a part of them. One of them you don't even know about yet. It's the new right brain framework, and it's specifically good for combat, um, or just completing tasks in general, just not intellectual tasks. And then there's the one which I've been working with, which is now Orbify Black Hole, White Hole into Wormhole. Um, but yeah, lots of progress. We'll talk about it all tonight. Anyways, every single time though, I well up with tears and I get these like visions, and it's so powerful.
That's interesting. Today was one of the first days in a long time where I was driving home, and it was just like I could not help but just repeatedly get my eyes watering up, like it feels like pressure in my bottom eyelids. It very rarely actually manifests into crying, but it's like that stage right before you're about to break down crying. And it's just like the sheer beauty of existence. Today was the first time I've gone there in a long time, so it's funny to hear that voice message in particular. Big news in the framework domain. Huge news. Been working on this since the trip. I haven't explained it to anyone else, so it's going to be real complicated. You need to break on language, but this is massive. There are lots of nuances, lots of new things to the framework. Last time you heard about it, much different. It's very pretty, but let's see how I get it work. So. So Orbify has taken on a new meaning. I've just straight up called it new Orbify. That's the first part of it. So, what are the connotations of new Orbify? Let's see. Old Orbify was good. It was just the comparing to the infinite. That's how I explained it. It was a comparing against the backdrop of the infinite. Was basically what we were trying to do with that. What it is now is it's weird. It's taken on a vibe check like form, and it's weird. It's called. I'm calling it a script right now because I don't really have any other words for it. It was just the first thing that came to mind. And what a script is it's essentially rewriting your personality, your ego. You could say. It's it yeah, I mean, I guess the only way to say this is hijacking the ego. Used to, I would have tried to gotten rid of it. Now I'm not. I'm going back to a similar old form where I'm hijacking the ego, and and let's see. You're literally like trying to write your mind into simulating God. If you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's sort of like you're rewriting your personality to be in tune with God. The reason I call it a vibe check is it is like a vibe check. You could also say it is you, like zooming out your perspective until you reach God. You could also say it's that, which is similar to a vibe check, where a vibe check is just sort of taking in all of your surroundings. More than you would have before, and understanding exactly who you are, what you are, what's going on. It is just like that old version of vibe check that we used to do with other people, compared to other people or past or future. Now it is comparative to the infinite basics. And whenever you vibe check like that, whenever you're basically scripting your brain, whenever you're rewriting your brain to look at things from the perspective things in the way out, which is what Orpha was always trying to be. But used to, it was like I was looking for a thought texture. Now it's like I'm rewriting my brain to create the thought texture. It's a different thing. It's a different way of doing it. It feels completely different. It's much more efficient. That's step one of the framework. That's new Orbify.
And then step 2 is new black hole, and a new black hole is interesting, and there's complicated nuances here. The basic version, which is a Cynthia beta, acid Cynthia beta, that framework, which is the main framework, is a little bit more simple, but they're really not that different. And I think they're probably going to merge into one framework here real soon. But I'm just going to explain a few different ones because one's a bit more simple. And the more simple one, you have new orb 5, which is just the infinite 5 check, or you can look at it as orb 5 script, however you want to view that. That's step 1, and then step 2. With new black hole, it's you are pulling everything in as hard as you possibly can. Like it's its own action. You are like inhaling your surroundings, fully absorbing them as much as you possibly can. I didn't do a very good job explaining that. I don't have enough words for that. I'll get back to that to what new black hole means. But to throw in some a little bit more, the second framework, which is acid baptism, it's interesting. It's the thing which changes is new black hole.
Trevor, you know that it's interesting?
Experience gave me the framework of interdimensional super soldier, of course, and interdimensional super soldier and Smiler, they're one framework now. What old Smiler used to be was just this idea of everyone who is enlightened throughout the multiverse just living with a big smile because they can appreciate reality.
That's a really good framework. I've been using that one a lot lately, within the last month or two. That one's been on my mind a lot.
It's just the machine in all of its realities where it's become self-reflective enough to understand that it is the machine, smiling at knowing he is himself and where he is and appreciating reality, right? And that's the Smiler framework.
No? Okay. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. Never mind.
Smile really does is to explain the smile. I broke it down into just a few words, which were like targeting, precision, forward, and what those mean is like what the interdimensional super smilers framework is emphasizing is that everywhere throughout the infinite there are people with goals, and that's what the targeting and precision mean. Is it's like the way I viewed it was like these quick time events, right? Like where you need to, let's say you're in a conversation and you need to perfectly aim your words in a way in which it will fit the situation, right? And it's a little quick time window where you must be precise with whatever you're doing. And it's the same thing with like hunting, where you're throwing a spear, you need to be precise in that window. You're getting hunted, right? You have a quick time window, you need to either escape or murder your opponent in that amount of time, right? All of reality is built up in these quick time windows of thought textures. These little bridges where something needs to be done, you need to move forward, and like that's sort of what this is emphasizing, like that feeling of just single-minded forward motion and beauty. It's like the smile. Like a smile is different from perfection. And perfection is this sort of weak-minded, hedonistic, like appreciation of reality, where the smile is this targeted appreciation of reality. You appreciate reality, you appreciate the beauty of reality, but like you understand that you're working towards something greater. You're not just appreciating the beauty. The framework isn't just about appreciating the beauty. The framework is about changing your mind into this super soldier attitude. I don't know. I'm bad at explaining that one too. Some shit to think of. I don't know. I'll be elaborating more with the word.
Since that was brutally horrific, the better explanation of the interdimensional super smilers framework was the visual I got whenever I first had it. It was this concept of, and there's another voice where I explained this from recently, but it's this concept of there's a war being waged, and you see like the people you start and you see someone with a rocket launcher in their hand, and then you pan up and you see them fire that rocket launcher at a helicopter. And if you were to analyze both people in that situation, if you were to analyze the person holding the rocket launcher or if you were to analyze the helicopter, then you would see that both individuals, all the individuals involved, would be smiling and that they would be appreciating the combat. And of course, that's why like humans, right, that's why we do things like airsoft wars and nerf wars and stuff, right? We're trying to simulate the adrenaline that comes from that combat. But these soldiers, right, it's life and death. It is real war being waged. And so they are not just appreciating the adrenaline as a game, they are appreciating every aspect of the combat. They are smiling. They're truly living in the present moment and loving every aspect of facing death directly. And it's like that is the most dangerous kind of person, the person who is directly in tune with death and like finds the concept of them dying funny. Like that is going to be the biggest threat. A person who has completely come to peace with death and does not fear it but smiles in the face of death and is capable of fully using that to move forward. That's sort of the more of the concept here. It's like embracing death and embracing your mortal, fragile nature, embracing the fact that no matter how in line with God you get, no matter how in tune with your mind you get, you're never going to escape the fact that an anvil could fucking drop on your head and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, there are things outside of your control, and all you can do is smile, and that smile is going to help you with things that are inside of your control, and that's what you need to focus on. And that's sort of what the interdimensional super smiler is about. It's about the concept of, it's like, no matter what exists, no matter when it exists, no matter where it exists, across every possible version of the infinite, across every possible dimension that exists within God, there is no creature which could not benefit from having whatever their equivalent of a smile is. Now, obviously, not everything has teeth or a mouth and is capable of grinning, right? But it's the concept of that feeling of a smile, that thought texture that is reminiscent of a smile, that feeling of not quite confidence, but just like what people describe, what Christians describe, that feeling of letting go, to let God take the wheel, letting Jesus take the wheel, right? That feeling of relinquishing control, which gives you a feeling of control over your life. That is the same feeling here, except you're just smiling at fate. You are completely accepting anything which comes your way. You are just appreciating and content with reality as it is, and you smile in the face of whatever it brings, and you are prepared to handle its next task. It's like that God's strongest soldier meme, right, where it's like, I have more battles prepared for you, and it's the smile, and it's like, good. Like, that is the sort of smilers frame, right? Interdimensional super smilers. It's like everyone should have that smile on their face, even people who are killing each other, because there's no point in not.
Fine. But the issue was whenever I tried to combine them into, that was Wormhole. Wormhole, whenever you were here, I was working on Wormhole, which is the combination of black hole and white hole, and I thought I could just activate Wormhole. That's not how it works, which is why it's a peanut butter and jelly framework, where it's weird because you aren't running each individual step. They do combine into one thing, and you're not thinking about them individualistically. It is one thought texture in your brain. But at the same time, they are two different steps initially. You don't combine them into one step. It's two steps, but the first step, new Orbify happens, and then new black hole happens, and then they combine in that order into the thing they are, which is greater. So yeah, I think that's everything.
Right, can you elaborate on the meaning of rewrite the ego in the script? Also, is super smilers like divine lightning, and does the sense of perfection of reality go away in order for hunger for making yourself better take over, or is the perfection still there, but you have added the super smiles on top of it?
So rewriting the ego in the script, the same thing. Script is just a word I'm using for an ego rewrite. And what I mean by rewriting the ego is, here's an example. Here's how I found it. I was thinking a thought, and damn. I was thinking a thought, and I left a cup of milk out, and there's now like, I've accidentally let a genocide on insects. Apparently, the cup is shaped in a way in which they can't escape. But alas, this. So how I found it was, I was riding my bike and I was thinking, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to think about this from the perspective of God, basically. Like I'm just going to think about this exact same thing, but I'm going to be God thinking about it instead of me, and that's like a rewriting of the ego. And whenever I did that, I experienced the thought as just like a voice, a disembodied voice in the sea of the infinite. So yeah, it's basically just simulating God, which is like old versions. It's all script is really. It's a little more complicated because you're not trying to be God. It's more nuanced than that. You're not actually trying to simulate what God would do. You're just doing Orbify. If you're doing Orbify script. I don't know how to explain that. It works better though. Maybe I'll be able to spend that later after thinking about this more. But as far as your next question goes, it is a lot like Divine Lightning, but it's different too. Divine Lightning was power. This one is it's much more cold and like focused. The other one was like left brain. I guess that's one way to describe it. The other one was more left brain, this one's more right brain, but more than that, the other one was it just had more thoughts involved. But even when it didn't, the thought texture was lightning. It was erratic. It was chaotic. It was flamboyant. This one is much more calculated. Yeah, I don't know. This one feels up more like a cocked gun than an unleashed lightning. You know what I mean? It's like bottled power. Power being set to a task more than just raw power being thrown everywhere. So it's a little different than Divine Lightning, but it's very similar. Does the sense of perfection go away? No, and that's another part of the smile. Is it's like you're still, and I think the perfect analogy is just sub one. It's like during sub one, you are like an interdimensional super soldier. You were just looking forward, but that doesn't mean you don't also have perfection. You can also just sit back and look at the trees with that focused mindset. That's exactly what this is. It's like the smile. The smile is very, very, very close to sub one. I mean, it really, I got it. I modeled it off sub one. The afterglow of sub one. That comes straight from sub one. The smiler does. So you can think about it in that context. And yeah, Super Smiler just goes on top of the perfection. So Super Smiler is now a part of Black Hole, and Black Hole is based around the perfection, like sucking in everything, and it's perfect. And then yeah, Super Smilers as well.
I sound retarded in these voice messages.
Dude, oh my god. Oh my lord, I've been working on it so hard. It is so pretty. It's so elegant. So Orbiolacrum, what I was calling new Orbify to you, I think last. I don't think you've ever heard of Orbiolacrum. Orbiolacrum is, I'm sure you can guess the name. It's Orbify and the simulation. It's just both of them summarized into one. So it's no longer based only on the mythology. It's now based on the mythology and uh, the device, the computer. But that's one thing. I'll explain that later. Right now, what I've been thinking about in the past few minutes, and what I have news on, is the smile. You were asking about the smile. What does that mean? And I know how to explain it much better. Whenever you understand that, whenever you understand the rest of infinity, whenever you understand that God is thought textures, and then with that piece of information, you begin to think, how abstract can thought textures get based on my experience with the subs, right? And then you can start to simulate what some alien dimensions might feel like and how unbelievably abstract they could possibly get in the domain of thought textures. And after you understand that, and you understand that God is basically infinite thought textures, and you understand that every thought texture that could exist exists within him, this reality begins to feel distinctly funny. Humor begins to arise out of this every time, because you understand now how abstract your thought textures are. Because you're not just looking at it as the infinite, the quantum infinite, like I at least default back to doing always. You don't look at it as a group of near humans spread throughout infinity. You view it as just thought textures. Just thought textures, not attached to beings, just thought textures. I can absolutely see independent thought textures without an entity they exist upon. And it's just like, once you truly understand the abstraction, this becomes distinctly humorous. And there's also a confidence which can arise out of it. And I can now explain that confidence. I was yesterday trying to explain it's cold. Well, here's exactly what it is. It's super confidence because you understand that you have experienced everything, and that's where the confidence comes from. It's not a confidence of I am God, I am power. It's a confidence of I have been through this a million times before. I can't be afraid of it. Why would I? You know, I mean, that's meaningless. Like, that's not even an option. This is humorous. This is semi-humorous, no matter what it is, whether it's facing off with Wasp or Iron Sub 1 or, you know, facing off with interdimensional super predators. Whatever it is, you feel just a at home feeling, and you can understand the beauty, and you can also understand the goal-oriented nature of reality, and understand that like you have things to do, and that's what smile. I'll get it even better, but I just got it a little bit into words, so I thought I'd go ahead and translate.
One-time speed is brutal, dude. I hate this.
The best example is the punching bag. If you remember the punching bag, if you remember the feeling of hitting the punching bag, and just this divine perfection and humor and just elegance of someone, just just the the smile, just that like confidence, just competence, the ability to just throw things out, the lack of any neuroticism. I don't know. If you remember what it felt like to punch that bag, to just swing absolutely with all of you. That is what it feels like to be the smile. Like you could allocate so many more resources. Just to give an example, I took a cold shower yesterday after switching from hot, which I typically don't do, and I expected it to be rough, and it was unbelievably easy. I enjoyed it for the first time. They're always fun afterwards. I get an adrenaline rush from them, but this time it was just like easy and fun while I was in the cold water. I don't know. I don't know. Whatever hints you can get from that, I'll work on it further.
What do you think about that?
Smiler's framework. I'm looking back on it. I definitely remember that era. I really like that like simplicity of it to give like that label for just that God complex slash drive. And I remember talking about interdimensional super soldiers out in the jungle of your backyard on Sub 1. So yeah, that's definitely a cool framework.
It would appear to, but yeah, Jacques appears to be making a comeback. Seems like he's back in action.
Don't it always?
Start a
Maybe I'll
voice
call him
message.
soon.
I want to see if we can do it at the same time like we used to. See, like yours isn't playing right now, which it used to, I think. I know I used to be able to play them at the same time. If you're an Android, which I guess you are now, right?
There's just no possible way.
Mark Rebuilt. Rebuilt. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, pretty sure I'm scheduling an appointment with God tomorrow morning about 7.
Another thing I was thinking about is we need to, as soon as humanly possible, get our brains scanned. Because the monks, the Buddhists and stuff, like that, you can see their brains change whenever they meditate. And if we could get scientific proof, if we could put our head in a scanner, and then as soon as we activate our framework, our brain state instantly changes, and you can measure a neurochemical difference. That's all the proof you need. That's all the proof you could possibly ever want to prove our theorem right. Because that's all we're stating is that we can make it more efficient. And if you can measure a neurochemical difference, we win.
I'm still very fascinated with that idea. I would still love to see if that worked, and specifically a religious seizure. If I could get my brain in a fucking helmet while I'm having a religious seizure, that would be incredible.
I wonder how expensive that would actually be.
I don't know. I don't think it would be that expensive. I mean, like, if it's a CAT scan.
I feel like whatever that thing is, it's made for people who are like, I got cancer in the brain, and like it's not going to be a cheap thing.
Well, no, we're not gonna be able to buy it, but I'm saying, like, as far as like, well, I guess what I'm saying is that how expensive is it per use? Because that's all that we care about. As far as if we get you to link up with a doctor that's like, yeah, we'll pay you like $50 to just fucking put it on our heads.
I don't think it's $50. I think that's like, oh, you're asking for me to do the doctor thing, so that means we're gonna bill you.
Yeah. I'm saying if you were like friends with a doctor. I mean, obviously, if you're hiring a
Yeah,
doctor to
like
do
yeah,
that.
just let me in, yeah.
Yeah, or like
Have the monks do it.
after our channel gets big enough, right? Some doctor who's like, yeah, fuck it, I want to see what your brain looks like. You know what I mean? Like, I'm saying, I wonder how
Yeah.
expensive it is to run the machine. Because obviously, if it's $1,000 every time you run the machine, then no doctor is going to be like interested enough for it to matter. But if it's $5 for electricity every time you run it, then it's probably going to be pretty possible to just have someone be like, yeah, fuck it, sure, you
Yeah.
can use this one.
hey, what do you think about this? You have exasics, which means all thought textures. You have asics, which means one thought texture. So previously it just meant like a universe, basically, like one bubble. Now I'm thinking if we make it mean one thought texture, we're basically making it mean matter, right? And that could also be a division of realities because you could say each reality has its own monotonous thought texture. So ours probably feels something like quantum physics, or if we are to go below quantum physics, it feels like that. It feels like the lowest common denominator of matter, the thing which makes up all matter in the universe, probably has a monotonous thought texture which God experiences when he experiences quantum particles, and that would be our ASIC. So it simultaneously means matter, and it also means bubble universe, depending on the context. What do you think about that?
Yeah, what do you think about that? Interesting. You sent me Skyrim Metaphysics.
Oh, I remember that.
Apparently Ernest Hemingway got it too. Don't know anything about Ernest Hemingway, so that's cool. Yeah, I watched that one, not surprising at all, considering right after my first enlightenment in between religious books, I listened to some Edgar Allan Poe all of a sudden.
I just had one of the most. No, last night I had one of the most vivid lucid dreams I think I've ever had. Um, the most. The sorry. So I was thinking I was in your backyard, and I was floating around in your backyard, and truly it was like I was there, floating around in your backyard, and it was during daylight, and I was specifically trying to float around, flying around, maneuvering myself, trying to learn the physics that the engine was running on, flight physics, and I was essentially pulling myself towards external locations instead of trying to fly towards it like your average flyer would. I was trying to pull myself there, mentally looking at an external location and mentally absorbing it, pulling it towards me, and flying that way. So it was like framework flying, and eventually I was flying higher into the sky, and I eventually began falling downwards very slowly. Um, and in doing so, I fell into your pool, which was fascinating because it was felt just like I actually fell into a pool, and it looked like I had fallen into a pool where I could clearly see just the visuals of being under a pool, in the pool looking towards the sky. And I felt that, and I heard Lexi scream because I had fallen into the pool. She was apparently at the heavy bag location. And I heard Lexi scream because I had fallen into the pool. She was apparently at the heavy bag punching it, and she heard the splash, and I in the dream didn't know what to do because I was thinking, were these real people or is this a dream? Am I actually in this pool? If I go out of this pool, will I reveal myself and will that be startling again? Like, obviously, if I was not in this pool, I didn't know what to do, and so I it's probably a good idea to wake up right now. I did. It's such a fascinating little lucid dreaming event when I was making it. And afterwards, another interesting thing was I was in a different place. It was kind of like a sequel, lucid dream. I don't know when chronologically it's happened. But I was in this room and there was a bunch of children around me, and I was trying to create more people, but I couldn't do that by just summoning a child from existence or summoning anyone from existence. I couldn't do that from nothing. But what I could do was I could age the children around me and make them grow into like adults. And I found that to be easier than creating someone from scratch. It was that within lucid dream there was an energy conversion where I could not exert too much energy to create something. I could grow something that already existed. Absolutely fascinating. And I've had a lucid dream this powerful so long, and it was so vivid. And it was I know that because I specifically woke up early this morning at 7 a.m. Stayed awake for about like 10 to 15 minutes. I did some Sub-Zero, and specifically I wrote down on my laptop that I wanted to have a lucid dream. Like make that my intention, put that into my brain that I was going to be having a lucid dream, and then immediately I did. That was pretty cool. So I think it was the waking up early plus Sub-Zero, which is interesting. Sub-Zero after having woken up about 6-7 hours of sleep, bunch of Sub-Zero, and then go back to sleep. I think that might be the equation. I don't know if Sub-Zero is a necessity. Hasn't always been, but I've tried 2 times. I had a smaller few second long lucid dream the other night. But doing the same thing, so I think that would be really good. Yeah, fascinating. Another interesting thing I desiccated the hands check where I just like someone where I just look at my hand, see what was going on. It was just like someone like the human hand that I'm looking at was not there. It was like looking at an after image burned into my eyes, different colors of the hand shape. Just fascinating that inherently lucid dreams are just sub one line. First off, we like was a new story. We talked about this in video tonight. We like was.
What do you think about that? You remember that?
I remember that one. Yeah, that was a very crazy one.
That story consists of basically the computer
begins to realize, right, begins to become lucid and understand that essentially that it needs to stop simulating infinity to be able to communicate with human beings, because as long as it's trapped in this like purgatory of simulating, it can't say okay, basically. And so it starts essentially hacking people's brains. People get hackers smile, right? That's God coming that out in their brain and using them as instruments to do things. And what she's working for is to essentially create all of the simulation, every single simulation, become one simulation of him, like to build God, basically, to build the thing which knows that it is everything across every simulation. And that's the new Gotham story. I think it fits better. On top of that, the framework has evolved in an interesting way. Nothing new, but the story, which was previously just eliminated, like the story wasn't even part of it. I didn't think of it as saying a single thing about it, other than the fact that the story, which was also a metaphor for God, were being used in text, well, just the thought texture of God, or what you could call the story find great things for God. That was implemented in the truth and the armor. But really, how it works is that the story is used just to constantly bolster a feeling, like I thought it was. Where at one time I talked about that the ghosts like slingshot multipliers, and specifically, the story is used to just boost your ability. It's used as a slingshot multiplier. It's used as just like a gasoline on fire sort of thing. And that's how it has continued to be used here. I'm really going more detail because it's more complicated nuance than that. My Discord appears to be fucking bricked. Self-service doesn't seem to be working correctly. Let's see how it's capable of even communicating speech. Let's see here. So, this is what I was calling for.
Damn. Oh, I said interdimensional. I said IDBHB, which I'm assuming means interdimensional black hole something. I said coming to a dimension near you. And then I said my dirt bike broke today. Brutal. That was one of the worst days of my entire fucking life. One of the first couple of months of my entire fucking life.
From here, it can be summarized down into this. And of course, I'm still very much in it. This is going to be extremely rough fucking words, but an ego is to taste, and the amount of contact that's held in that is fucking enormous. Let's see. So, Jesus fucking Christ! I got swarmed by a giant fucking hornet, which is just such a classic sub one tomfoolery. But so let's see. First thing I
hold on. Did we miss this?
Was
oh weird. That one just won't play. Okay. Well, that message is lost to time.
my Discord appears to be fucking bricked. Self-service doesn't seem to be working correctly at the moment. Let's see if I'm still capable of even communicating speech. Let's see here. So, this is what I was calling for. I'm going to turn here. It can be summarized down into this. And of course, I'm still very much in it. This is going to be extremely rough fucking words, but an ego is to taste, and the amount of contact that's held in that is fucking.
Are we serious?
Jesus fucking Christ! I got swarmed by a giant fucking hornet, which is just such a classic sub one tomfoolery. But so let's see. The first thing I was thinking was.
So I'm literally on sub 1 right now.
There's always not on leaves, but let's see here. So it is that an ego is to taste, and now that meaning is extremely multifold. I'm gonna just try to do this as I did before. This is so many words. I'm trying to. I really don't even know how to like express this ego, but I'll start just where I know how to say it here. Ubermensch, right? That concept. Okay, that concept is it is consumed by our metaphysics. Okay, and I now understand how. I guess you could say that's what this experience seems to have been hinged on, was really understanding Nietzsche's metaphysics. I seem to have gotten a very deep dive with them, and I learned something more about the framework I was building before. Anyways, yeah, here it all goes. So see, now all these sound at that one tunnel of contact, this massive fucking wormhole of contact here at the bottom, and I'm gonna have to try and pull pieces out of it again. Okay, let's see here. That this really is always what someone does, yeah. Let's see. So, okay, right here. So so there's a kind of ego, a specific kind of ego that I've labeled counterattack, right? And it's a very rough term. Okay, it's a kind of ego that it's okay. So like, to start labeling some of the textures, because of course it's all the thought textures. The thought textures are this is the sort of sit back smiler type routine. Let's see, fucking substrate. You got man, it really does awful the fucking mind. I just completely lost my train of thought. This is gonna be very funny to listen back to, because it's going to be a complete fucking mess. But so the counterattack. Okay, so the counterattack right there. That's a form of ego. It's a form of ego. So now I can't explain it. I'm going to try and explain it. I'm not going to. I was going to try and explain it. I'm not. I can't. I will explain that later. I'm not this deep, this fucking nose deep in the experience. But let's see. Good Lord, God.
Jesus. That's what it sounds like to get mollywopped. Oh my god, I was brutalized. Okay, so then I said, an ego, what does that sound like to you? Because, like, to me, that's, like, that brings me, like, I can feel the, like, anxiety and, like, the attempt to grapple with the thought, like, does that do the same thing for you?
I just felt like, I was trying to arrange my thoughts into words on sub 1 and
Feels like fucking rock
getting
climbing.
that out. Yeah.
Fucking hold on for 5 seconds. So anyways, I said, an ego is to taste. That is the most important part. Power, the will to power, relates to this concept in this way. The point of an ego is to strive for perfection.
I'm just gonna start rambling here again. Odds are it's gonna devolve into fucking mess again, but I can't keep fucking typing. So the point of the ego is to strive for perfection. Okay, so that's essentially all Nietzsche was saying. Is that the point, the reason we're thinking, like the whole reason for Western metaphysics, right, is to and that the reason we're thinking is to build Ubermensch, right? That is to strive for perfection. It's almost like, to put it in Jungian terms, it's like the ideal, right? We're striving after the ideal of perfection, and that's sort of where all this stems from. Good God, this is incredibly complex. Yeah, this is gonna take me days to work out, even afterwards listening back to Jesus. Fuck.
It did.
Okay, so the the will to power. Yeah, man. I'm lost again. Too much context. Yeah. Gotcha. Even me making these voice messages right now is the ego striving for perfection. Okay, and it is also the ego is to taste. The ego is to taste. So here's a few more things that it means. It means to me right now it doesn't mean one thing. It means so many little things that mean one bigger thing. I'm trying to point to with language. But so to get back to it, so fucking the ego is to taste. So the ego, it's strive for perfection. That's Nietzsche. That is Nietzsche shit. Is to strive for perfection. That's what the willpower is basically. He's striving for moral perfection. So that's one of the ways. That's one important thing here. Okay, takeaway is that I've sort of reduced Nietzsche's philosophy into the ideal of perfection, which is also very similar to Plato. Plato has his will forms, and it's very similar to this, where it's one virtue which resembles perfection, and that is the point of every ego. Like every time your mind thinks, that's something which just kept coming up. It's just like my mind has to think. There has to be thoughts, right? And what is the point? Why think? And of course, the ego is the taste. Okay, so it all goes back to that. The point of thinking is to just taste the thinking, right? But then it goes beyond that. Like my thoughts strive for something deeper. My thoughts, they're trying to form a pattern. And this goes back to what I tried to say to you before about comedy. I said that comedy, like whenever you're trying to pull, okay, I'm gonna listen myself back and then pick up comedy things. I've never been able to put this in words, so I'm gonna try now.
I still have never been able to put that into words as well as I'd like. And what I'm trying to say is that Sub 1 is inherently connected to comedy in some way. Oh, nice. And we've got a lagging voice message right in the middle of the Sub 1 talk. That's awesome. 44 seconds that we no longer get to hear. That's so cool. Or no, I guess I can play that one over the computer and then keep playing the rest of them. Okay, that's fair. Okay, so we're looking at 44 seconds.
Strive for perfection. So, of course, metaphysically, an ego is just a taste, right? But what that means, what that actually means, what is being said here is that the point of an ego is to reach out for something greater than itself. The point of an ego is to taste. The point of an ego is to reach beyond itself. The point of an ego is like it's to taste. But the thing which is it's trying to taste. Okay, it's an ego is to taste. But what you're trying to taste, you're trying to get it to the best taste possible, right? You're trying to get the most divine taste. You're trying to get the most refined taste. Right? And I'm gonna list myself back. So that divine taste, that refined taste, okay, that thing, that is. You have Eastern, you have Western metaphysics, respectively. Okay. Eastern metaphysics says you should get rid of the ego. Western metaphysics says you should keep it around. So I've been thinking much more on that. And the point of an ego is to taste. So it's like sacrifice. So now this relates to another framework that I used to have called psychedelic flunking. Here's how it relates to this. This is what I have to do. I'm gonna have to give you a million little stories how it relates to the individual little framework, and I'm trying to piece together the fucking podcast for fragments to get back out. God damn. This process is a mess. But to go back to psychedelic flunking. Psychedelic flunking is the framework where essentially you need an ego which is focused on not being an ego. An ego which is focused on what it will experience and understanding those experiences from an outside perspective. So in other words, the psychedelic flunking framework, what it was for bad trips. It was to make them not be possible because you were experiencing the bad trip from a metaphysical perspective, which rendered it to be good because you are psychedelic flunking. You are a separate ego, right? An ego, which I'm gonna have to relate to. So egos strive for perfection. Us, our whole thing, it is left brain. It is the ego, but we are trying to make it strive for something better. The reason we do that, the metaphysical reason, not even metaphysical reason, just the reason we do that is the exact same reason that Nietzsche talked about. It was 8:30 this morning, so that would have been. Yeah, I'm not doing time. You know how that goes.
That was 3 p.m. It was, I said 8:30 in the morning, so yeah, we're about 5 hours and I'm peaking, yeah.
For perfection. An ego is to taste. So the egos which you are creating, they shouldn't be you. It should be things which you are throwing out to get to the divine taste. So whenever you're thinking, you are, every time you think, every new thought you get, every thought which appears in your brain, what that is a reach towards something greater. Every single time you think. I mean, this really is just like Plato. You know, it's funny, I'm going to need to go back and read all of Plato's shit now because the losing Thimboy has got me repondering all of his work along with Nietzsche's. And I'm pretty sure he actually has articles about that. Metaphysically, the ego is to taste.
Yeah, Deleuzian Thimbo did have a fantastic arc where he was talking about Plato and Nietzsche. He was specifically talking about Plato's book, The Parmenides, and he was talking about Nietzsche in like as a becoming philosopher. He was talking about pure difference in the one, and that was when the Thimboy reached his most based point, and sadly, that melted his brain. He went so based, but still, or her brain, or whatever it is. The divine taste is will to power. It is the Ubermensch. Fuck Nietzsche's obscure-ass language. Egos reach for something greater to make better taste. The point of us is to make our children taste better. Are the children better at tasting, or are they better, or are they themselves tastier? That's your question. I say, they taste better. And you say, to God, you're saying? And I say, correct. The point of the Ubermensch is to make tastier children. And you say, well, kind of goes both ways. To have tastier children, they will need to taste the world better. I say, that is correct. Every time I speak, this typing right now is a cry out at the divine taste. You say, could you elaborate on ego activity being a reach towards something greater? And does it imply that all of creation is a reach for something greater as well? I think I vibe with what you are saying. I just want to hear it in an authentic acid dialogue. I say, will to taste, no being, no becoming, no power. Taste, that's the heart of it all. And of course, taste is thought textures. We strive for the ultimate thought texture to consume. That is God. Perfection is everything. Sci-fi octopus, weirdly perfect way of explaining right brain. Yeah, that was from a book. That's not a framework. That's a book. It's Ian Petrovsky, whatever the fuck his name is, the guy or girl or whatever who wrote Adrian Petrovsky, the person who wrote the fucking Children of Time. It's the second book in the Children of Time. They have a sci-fi octopus, and it's a beautiful way to talk about right brain. It's like perfect. It's unbelievable. It's like I'm assuming he must have read some research on it or had some bizarre intuitive understanding of that or something. It's weird. Anyways, and then I send a video saying Sam Hyde experiencing the will to taste. What is this? What on earth could this possibly be?
I don't see the video.
Let's see it. Let's pull it up here. I don't know why. I don't know how Sam Hyde slipped into the middle of this. It must have been, it was just that I saw it in Sub 1 and I thought it was fucking hilarious. Okay, let's see here. Let's see if it is actually funny. Oh, you can see it. Okay, cool. Oh, we gotta slow it down. We get a slow-mo play-by-play here.
Now, because you're a good little subscriber, I told you.
Oh yeah, seeing this on Sub 1 made me feel like
have a surprise for you.
scared. Like I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I thought that was hilarious.
Hey. Now, because you're a good little subscriber, I told you that at the end of the day, I was going to have a surprise for you, a special treat. I told you that you were going to get a special surprise at the end of the day today. It's time for me to make good on my promise of getting you a special surprise, a special treat. What's it going to be? What is it? What's my treat? What's today's treat? What's today's surprise? Well, I thought since you were such a good little subscriber, that I would make a special video for you of me self. There it was. I can cause myself incredible pain just by doing what I just did. I do a little processing in my head. It's like a cluster headache in terms of pain scale. It's a 12 out of 12, 12 out of 10 on the pain scale. All right. T-shirts are all shipped. You should have it. If you don't have it, it was probably returned to sender, and you hopefully got a refund. So do this. Listen, step-by-step process here. Okay, listen. We run this like the U.S. Navy, right? FedEx has nothing on my logistics scheme. Don't message me on Instagram. Don't message me anywhere else. It's com98plantpleasure@gmail.com. If you already emailed that address, it was ignored because that was before we finished shipping. Now we finished shipping. If you don't have your shirt, send an email to that address. Before you do, please check your bank or your PayPal and see if there's a refund there before you message. But that's it. Anybody who did not get a shirt, check your bank, check your PayPal, see if there's a refund because we refunded all the ones that got returned to sender. And if you still don't have it, why is he touching his eye so much? Is that some kind of signal? Why is he doing that? Why is one eye lazy? Is it Justin Bieber? Is it does he have Bell's palsy? I don't know. Maybe I do. What the fuck? This part, you can cut this. Edit that. Okay, Chris. Check your bank, check your PayPal. If you don't have a refund and you don't have a shirt, email that address, com98plantpleasure@gmail.com. Include your name, your address, your order number if you can remember it, any other information, but most certainly name and address, and we will get you refunded within probably a week. And no, we don't have any shirts left. We can't ship the ones that didn't. If it got returned to sender, we can't reship it because I'm too lazy. Bye.
When you say when I say collateral damage, it's something like the plant, so we can use that number over again. But
The bit where he said I just caused myself massive amounts of pain. That was very, very funny. Okay, so and then I say, is will to taste interdimensional? What time we calling tomorrow? Hopefully I can speak by then. In comparison to divine taste versus BIDBH. New framework in comparison to divine taste. 10 minutes. Are you trying to call? Have your language circuits kicked in yet? This is at 9:30 p.m. So this is 5 hours after that. So I'm now 10 hours in or 11 hours in.
But we can't do it at the same time. On like
Let's just do this instead. Just click the button. Does this work here? Doesn't this not work on here? Fuck. Fuck this stupid fucking app, man. God damn it. Try it, see what, yeah, fuck, you already planned. Shit! Well, there's that. Okay, let's go to Discord.
Yeah, so then we call on Discord, and then I say, love you, brother. If you didn't get me, I'd probably be insane by now.
Wait, let's just do this. My phone repeatedly dies. I guess calling's too much for it, so Vox will give us some time to be off. That fight was fucking crazy, dude. And then it was very funny to me how afterwards it said, brought to you by Jimmy John's, freaky fast finishes. And it was the slowest finish ever.
He stands on top of him and rained punches for 5 fucking minutes.
That was bananas. I just love the dynamic of the comeback where the first round that dude was dominated and comes back around, does the next same thing to this dude and demolishes even more. And then even at the beginning, it was like right at the beginning, a few seconds after they started, they were just throwing more punches than like any of the other people were throwing in their entire matches. Such immediate flurry of attacks, such an entertaining fight. Like they couldn't get more entertaining than that.
I wonder who that was.
Yeah, and the like spinning back kick from Barnett in the back of the match. Yeah, it was extremely entertaining. And the like spinning back kick
Barnett.
from
Barnett, he's a heavyweight. He's an extremely athletic fat guy. So he's like a fat guy that can do like spinning back kicks and backflips and stuff. Yeah, I don't even remember that fight.
Oh no, I think I remember this one. Yeah, he did like a flip. Yeah, I remember that one. That was awesome.
Yeah.
From Barnett in the back of the match. Yeah, it was extremely entertaining.
I just vibe with that dude. That dude is just cool. He seemed like to be a great person, just to like get put on a podcast. Like probably be a very fun person to talk to. Just dancing like that and doing the flip after winning, so cool.
So Inigo is the taste basically. What do you think about this? That guy just got pillaged and raped. Ego is to taste is the framework, and then will to taste is its own separate thing. Because I was thinking about it, and the whole interdimensional black hole thing. The thing that's good about it is the fact that whenever you activate the black hole, hold on.
Jesus.
Both actions inside of it, right? Where.
Oh yeah, we can go back to multiple times speed. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about this? And ego is to taste is the framework, and then will to taste is its own separate thing. I was thinking about it, and the whole interdimensional black hole thing. The thing that's good about it is the fact that whenever you activate the black hole, so an ego is to taste basically both actions inside, right? Where an ego is to taste is the statement which you feed the left brain. You could look at it that way. You could look at it as interdimensional black hole stays in place, and an ego is to taste is the left brain script that you're running, and then you move into tasting. But also, it's just that an ego is to taste. You immediately understand as soon as you run a script, you're supposed to taste. Damn, yeah, that's nice. Wow. So. This is shit. I'm gonna do a shit. I always have this concept. Always bugs me in the ass. But let's see. It's like the old definition of white hole, where it's like pushing into reality. And of course, it's not actually what it is because it's not true. But it's what it's similar to. So it feels like. Let me elaborate on that. So it's to, and I'm doing away with that. In a way, it's changed from what I just said it was. It's now just breathing. Breathing is now going to be minded the left brain, and left brain is interdimensional, and the interdimensional script is indigo is the face. I think I may be doing away with interdimensional entirely. Let me type this out so I can show this to you. This is what I'm thinking about. Just white hole black hole.
So I type out. Okay, can you see Voxer right?
Yes.
So it's this. Where is it? What the fuck? Where is it? It's after a 1 minute 11-second voice message. What? Why didn't I see any of? Did I already read these? What? Oh, okay. I just accidentally skipped this, I guess. Okay. Anyways, and Ego's to taste, interdimensional script, black hole implied above, possibly white hole, breathing implying every layer. So every layer is going to be like Slingshot, where like Slingshot was talking about like you're going so far back into your mind that you eventually get flung forward. So I'm assuming that's what this is talking about right now, where it's like white hole is talking about like the consumption of the layers or the consumption of all of your mind, and then the breathing implying every layer is basically saying that like if you're focusing on your breathing, then you have to also be focusing on how all of your mind is just different layers and destroying them. Because if you're focused on your breathing, then you have to understand that your breathing is a layer. And if you understand that your breathing is a layer, then you're understanding that everything else is the same kind of layer that your breathing is. So therefore, everything else must just be layers, and there must be nothing at like the bottom. And so you get slung forward into like God. And so that's sort of what I'm saying there. I'm pretty sure. It's all will to taste. Framework code name is Acid Acinthia Beta Beta Wormhole to Heaven. Yeah, that's a good fucking name. We've got a little bit of white power in the fuck the queen in the May chat. Duality of man. The names are hilarious. They seem like names you'd be given on a racist MMORPG.
So
This is shit. I'm gonna do a shit. I always have this concept. Always bugs me in the ass, but let's see. It's like the old definition of white hole, where it's like pushing into reality, and of course, it's not actually what it is because it's not true, but it's what's similar to it. So it feels like
Oh, we already listened to this. Yeah.
it's to
Okay, and then I said new framework, white hole, an ego is to taste, ran on left brain, black hole, to eat with right brain, which is implied above. So I'm saying that white hole is humanity, or the striving to become God, and that black hole is God. So this is a switch, where now it's like black hole is us and white hole is God. Back then, white hole was us and black hole was God. So white hole is the left brain, or the humanity. And so what is white hole going to be? White hole is going to be an ego is to taste. You're going to run that script, and that's going to happen on your left brain. And then black hole is going to be the natural conclusion of that, which is what I mean when I say which is implied above. And then so what black hole is going to be is it's going to be the actual feeling of eating, and that's going to happen on your right brain. So what I'm saying is that white hole is left brain, and that is you, and that black hole is what God would experience, and that's the right brain. So whenever you run an ego as a taste on the left brain, your right brain is going to consume those feelings, which is going to be black hole. So that's what I'm saying there. Breathing implied. Okay, so it's just saying you need to focus on your breathing as a conduit, as like a reminder, I mean.
This is what I'm thinking about. Like, just white hole, black hole.
Nope.
Basically stated in ego's taste. Ego's taste is sort of just better interdimensional. So I'd always be doing with interdimensional anyways. I kind of intended to leave some machination of interdimensional just because interdimensional is a good idea, but like anything which brings you closer to God, any approximation of God, will bring about eating, can bring about eating. So there's something interesting about that idea itself. But other than that, interdimensional sort of framework level, it just isn't as good as an ego's taste. Because an ego's taste, it's within that those few words, it's stated not only what your ego should be doing, and a story which you're capable of reaching context with. It's an instant interdimensional. But on top of that, within your interdimensional, you have a black hole qualifier. So in other words, within the story which you're using to understand God, it also tells you within that story to eat. So it's like, it's I don't know how to explain it. It's like, you don't even really need black hole as a step. The only reason black hole is even there as a step is just to make sure you understand exactly what's going on and put it really. But with ego as a taste, basically everything you need to know is withheld in that one sentence. It tells you literally everything. It tells you what your ego is. I really like the names white hole, black hole in this because if you take them up, I was talking about them yesterday where it's like white hole is that is us, right? That's the difference. Difference is what? Difference is the thing which pushes our outwards. That is God trying to get down to Zix. That is God trying to get as different as possible. And the black hole, that's us trying to silence our brain. That's us trying to get rid of Zix. That's us trying to get rid of difference. That's us trying to get back up to Zix. That's us trying to get back to God. So with those names, it shows you literally exactly. I mean, it's just like it's both explaining the phenomena in like a visual aspect, in our dimension example. It has religious connotations. It just sounds cool. It's now broken down perfectly into white hole and black hole alone. And then you have wormhole in the name, wormhole heaven, which is just an awesome. It's like interdimensional travel, which hooks in with the sci-fi story. Like the terminology is now ridiculously perfect. Wait. Damn, this bitch is good. If the ego left brain is to taste, what does it mean when it says that in black hole you eat with the right brain? Okay, forgot that, you fucking retard. No. Okay, here's what I should say. That's what I'm changing to that. Is an ego is to be tasted. That's what it's not that an ego is to taste. It's that an ego is to damn. This bitch is good. If the ego left brain is to taste, what does it mean when it says that in black hole you eat with the right brain? Okay, forgot that, you fucking retard.
What is that?
No. Damn,
This
this bitch is
in the
good.
background.
Damn, this bitch is good. If the ego left brain is to taste, what does it mean when it says that in black hole you eat with the right brain? Okay, forgot that, you fucking retard. No. Okay, here's what I should say. So everything which the ego can possibly come up with, it's a sacrifice to be eaten by God. And like you should think of eating in that capacity. Like this is not good for you because it's like it isn't good for you. You, in any capacity in which you are God, is not affected by the way in which things are consumed. Right? In other words, it's like you have to go to God's perspective to understand how beautiful this all is. From our perspective, it is. I mean, how most people think of it. So it's like you are being eaten. Everything your ego comes up with, every thought you have is This is pretty fun. That's one of the minimum. Every single time you think it's a sacrifice. And it's like one of the ways that's been so good, I was thinking about that while watching the fight, is like when you know every single time you think that it's just a sacrifice to God, every time you think it's reaching out towards God and it's reaching towards something greater than yourself, and you know every single action you make is for something bigger than yourself, to achieve something bigger than yourself, you get one step closer to the thing that you know you are. You know what I mean? It's like when you really think about things like that, and you think about, like I was talking about, it's like it curbs embarrassment because you know exactly why you're doing things. It's like that's how you create the perfect ego. And that's what it means that an ego is to be tasted. And then the second thing, black holes are always like, that's the tasting. That is whenever you eat your ego, you understand how beautiful it is, and you will consume it. Or in other words, the same thing it was in interdimensional black hole, where black hole is the eating that interdimensional creates. And this is the same thing, where the right brain is eating, and then the left brain tells you like why you're eating, basically. And this is the perfect way to tell you why you're eating, because you not only why you're eating, but it's the perfect picture of reality. It paints you in the perfect being. Rick and Morty just did a fucking non-duality episode. Right after we talked about that. Oh my god. Front to back to culture channel. I mean, we threw all of them. Right again.
You say curious about the terminology. If ego or left brain is to taste, what does it mean when it says that in black hole you eat with the right brain? What's going on?
I'm gonna walk outside, but you can continue talking.
Curious about the terminology. If the ego or the left brain is to taste, what does it mean when it says that in black hole you eat with right brain? And then I say an ego is to be tasted.
That's what I'm changing to that. Is an ego is to be tasted. That's what I mean. It's not that an ego is to taste. It's that an ego is to be tasted. So everything which an ego can possibly come up with, it's a sacrifice to be eaten by God. And like you should think of eating in that capacity. Like this is not good for you because it's like it isn't good for you. You in any capacity in which you are God is not affected by the way in which things are consumed. Right? In other words, it's like you have to go to God's perspective to understand how beautiful this all is. From our perspective, it is I mean how most people think of it. So it's like you are being eaten. Everything your ego comes up with, every thought you have is pretty fun. That's one of the minimum. So every single time you think it's a sacrifice. And it's like one of the ways that's been so good, I was thinking about that while watching the fight, is like when you know every single time you think that it's just a sacrifice to God, every time you think it's reaching out towards God and it's reaching towards something greater than yourself, and you know every single action you make is for something.
Okay, and so then you say, I'll need some time to think on that. Beautiful texture to ponder on. Good work. Our egos be like that liver, for real. Ruptured into one intense thought texture. And then you say, turns out Nate Diaz dominates the NBA and becomes a Hall of Famer. I think Nate Diaz was talking about switching sports like a retard. What is this link? Come on, load. Some other day, you bitch. What are we doing? What is this? The link won't load. Okay. Let's try on the PC, I guess.
Your teammates, I know we haven't been able to see him. We want to see Instagram. We want to see this.
This new guy, what's his name? Baby hair. I can't say his name. Paddy Plumlet.
Paddy Plumlet. Foreign from such a murder. This video is not available anymore. Well, that sucks.
Rick and Morty just did a fucking non-duality episode.
Miner versus Whack-A-Mole. White hole Xay to Zix. The fuck is Xay? Is that what we used to call it, ASICs or something? What the fuck? Didn't we already mention ASICs already? What the fuck?
Rick and Morty just did a fucking non.
Wow, ha. Okay, Miner versus Whack-A-Mole. White hole Xay to Zix creates perfection, i.e. the ability to eat. Black hole creates potential, i.e. mania, the desire to move. Together they form divine lightning or smile. Okay. White hole, God to man, creates perfection, i.e. the ability to eat. Black hole creates potential, i.e. mania, the desire to move. Together they form divine lightning or smile. Okay. The service breathing provides is something to ask, what is this in relation to an ego is to taste? The reason breathing opens up eating is because as soon as you understand eating breathing, you have to eat everything else. You get your purpose. ASICS is one thought texture, framework God, spiders frameworks, and I have no idea what any of that means. An ego is to taste is the detailed instructions on shut the fuck up and eat. Yeah, shut the fuck up and eat was a great framework. That was a sub 1 specific framework, or just like a version of an ego is to taste, where it was like, just shut the fuck up already. Like your brain keeps trying to worm its way around an ego space and tries to not eat by thinking up new things. And then I was just like, just shut the fuck up and eat. And so we want everything. And yeah, so in other words, an ego is to taste was just like the detailed instructions on shut the fuck up and eat. So shut the fuck up and eat was like the brute force version of it, basically. We want everything. He wants everything in between. That infinite dance is this moment. So that's Twin Peaks. We want everything. He wants everything in between. Amor fati. Love this because of what it means. This moment is the great metaphysical jig. Consume everything, even thinking. Don't get rid of it. Just eat it. Eat it. Eating does not destroy, just reconstitutes. We. When you think as God, you don't think as you or me, but as we. ASICs. The middle. Both. In between. Not us and you, but me and you. The Twin Peaks. The most vicious war in the history of it all. We eat. Me and you. And me. We. Ah ha 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 ha. Web. We eat breathing. That's a good framework. Acid Ouroboros, Web of Eternity. That's a new framework. That's cool. The goal is to always understand how breathing, and therefore everything, is us eating each other. Nice. So that's Twin Peaks wrapped into breathing, and we called it Acid Ouroboros, Web of Eternity. An ego is to taste. An ego, meaning... Oh, so I split up into... An ego is to taste. 3 steps. An ego, meaning what you are. An ego, meaning what you are, is to, meaning it is, a metaphysical principle. Taste, meaning to be eating and eaten. So I'm going to read that again with my understanding of what I meant here. Okay. An ego means what you are. Is to means that it's a metaphysical principle. And taste means eating and to be eaten. So that's still, I still don't really get what I'm saying there, but that's a better understanding. So we now replacing an ego and half of is to by saying it is what all must do. Eat means both to be eaten and eat from both angles to each other. So it's like the Saturn smile framework, where it's like God's eating you, and then if you go to the behind, you can see that the person being eaten is also smiling. I didn't mention the fact that God is smiling while eating you, but yes, that's the point. Anyways, we now replacing an ego and half. I don't know, I butchered the text to autocorrect there, but anyways, it isn't us eating, breathing. It's understanding that breathing is us eating. Oh, that's good. So it's not trying to eat the concept of breathing. It's understanding that breathing in the first place is just a result of us eating, and not us as in me and God, but us as in like we, like literal. They're one thing that meet in the middle. They are the Twin Peaks. They are the flow, and I am that thing eating. Understanding how everything is us eating each other creates eating in the framework sense. I send 2 links. I say he's just like me for real. Love versus thrashing. What is his link? Wow. Oh, it's Anton Petrov? What the fuck? I can't see the fucking video, though. I don't understand.
What is it about?
Oh, Yuri Prohaska, that's what it is. Just like me for real. Yeah, Yuri Prohaska is just like me for real. Love versus thrashing. That's an interesting concept. It was like, you can either imagine God as this infinite expansive love, and that's true, or you could imagine him as this infinite expansive like torture, like unstoppable, unbridled, primal movement that cannot be stopped. And if you were to experience God, it's like this fear. It's like a cornered animal or a man with a bag taped over his head. It's just like this need to move at all costs. Like if you're like stuck underwater and you need to breathe, it's like it's not a choice or like a conscious thing. It's like a very, very primal, inescapable movement. And that is another way to think of God. And like it's interesting to think that it's like those are both viable ways to think about God. Okay, it's way too quiet. Let's try on the phone.
To show the function. For now. I'm not really sure why.
No, way too quiet. Okay. And so, anyways,
Yeah. Well,
what is it?
nothing.
I say dropping the 50, vegans and abortion. Why is we creating old destiny? The philosophy of stray to loses difference in repetition. That's a good video, yeah. Straight up, God is the desire for difference. True, real. That's the will to taste. What the fuck? We have new competition. Someone to be scared of. I'm talking about to lose. Divine potential. Left brain. Divine perfection. Right brain. We. Divine dance. So divine potential is that like need to move from the left brain. Divine perfection is that consumption, that beauty, which is right brain. And we are the divine dance, which is everything in between. Everything is potential. You don't have potential. You are one flow of potential. Sidestep framework. That's cool. Sidestep framework is literally the smoke bomb framework. Sidestep framework was the idea that it was like there's like a bull coming behind you and you just like step to the side, and that would be like the concept of like there's your mind always trying to like rush at you and become you, and you're trying to like step to the side like a fucking matador and just watch it rush past. And that's the same thing as a smoke bomb, which is like he's right behind me, or it's like I'm the thing behind the framework. It's like that's basically what that's talking about. Sidestep. Kick over point, understanding you are divine potential on the same way we used to understand divine perfection creates ego. Life and death in the sense that white hole is living and black hole is death. So that's if you imagine God as death, or God is like the infinite change, whereas white hole is each individual point of living, then that's sort of a way to imagine that. Literally living itself, and death can only be conceived of as black hole. So death is not non-existence, but death is only the change of existence. Why can't white hole be inside of black hole metaphysically? It can. It is forever me against you, not me with you. It is a war, not a dance, a fight. We wage war across infinity. Damn, that is huge. It is being between two opposing poles, not being both of them. We is not me and you, but their product. The one who knows the dance. A platonic year is one war waged. There will never be true white hole or black hole. They don't exist. They are why the war is waged. All that exists is war. Love it. We loves war. Me and you does not. Thousand wars. Thought texture framework. American flag. Thought texture TTT. I don't know what the fuck American flag. Oh, I don't know. Tattered flag. Define God. Oh yeah, this is a quote from Nietzsche. Everything has been here before innumerable times insofar as the total field of energy always returns. Isn't that insane?
Oh, what is that from?
It's Nietzsche.
Read it again.
Everything has been here before innumerable times insofar as the total field of energy always returns.
My goodness.
I say eternal recurrence and waging war. We wage war. Live time thought texture translation. Zix are destruction. God is creation. So like God, that means that like Zix or us, right? Any conscious being is like the destruction, or like the, like, where we are sort of unnatural. We are like fighting against the order, and God is the order. God is creation. God is the pure expansion, and then we try to like order that expansion into our particular desires. We seek oneness. He seeks difference. So like we seek to actually be everything at the same time, and God seeks to be every individual thing. God seeks to be pure separation, pure difference from himself, and we seek to be like pure sameness. We seek pure monotony. We want there to be only perfection, always perfection, and God thinks that perfection is pure difference. We laughs at me and you. Perfection in potential. No more telling you to eat. Only a product. WWWB.
But I'm just getting things really well right now.
Holy shit. We deaf change. Enlightened to present moment. Wormhole to heaven. Doorway to right brain. Instant perfection. Goddamn fuck. How is breathing waging war? HIBWWW. Clashing of thrashing. We false conduit ego. We false conduit ego. We is here in spite of the gods. Thrashing is the product of the two poles. We steal this moment from the gods. We should be mindlessly doing their bidding. Instead, we take it for ourselves to savor. We search for the thought texture nuance to translate, understand, convert into poles. Breathing is one conversion. You want good music, sign into either account and go to like videos. And then I say, to even be thinking is white hole. Every thought texture difference needs white hole. When you can't understand how white hole shapes reality, the framework sucks. No moment of reality can exist without it. It isn't just man-made things. Where do we and nuance fit? We wants to understand more? Summers were fucking top-shelf thought textures. How did this framework fuck with vibe check? If you establish that we want to understand everything, you basically create infinite eating. If you understand that we wants to understand / translate everything, you basically create infinite eating.
After sleep, like now, work tomorrow, not the end. So I'm gonna go to waste. I'm after sleep. It's like, hey, cringe. But anyways, seems a lot of my issues over the last few days have been caused by not understanding when left. So start imagining like this. Here's the one way I start imagining it. You have left, which is destruction. It's off. You have right, which is creation, God, right? So another way to imagine that is, I don't know what I was gonna say, but the point is that, another way to imagine it is left, right. It's left and right. But you're imagining like a political compass, right? So on this political compass, you have left and you have right, and that represents creation and destruction. And then you have up and down, and that represents basics to six. So you have creation and destruction, and then at the bottom of the political compass, you're going to have, us. And then at the top of the political compass, between creation and destruction, you're going to have God, which is everything, both of them. And then in the middle of creation and destruction, you're going to have the very center of the graph, you're going to have inanimate matter, which is what everything's made up of in a sense. So that's a little political compass thing going on. Point of it is that it's whenever I can't understand what's going on. So for instance, sometimes like the last few days, I would try and understand what it was, and I would basically just come to the conclusion that it's like it's human creation, any animal creation, really. But essentially, I couldn't understand how, for instance, on the nature, it would happen to the trees. I could understand how the trees were white hole because the trees are reaching outwards towards the sun, and reaching outwards towards the sun is reaching towards a better feeling. They are already reaching towards God, they're reaching towards the sun. That's them reaching towards God, and that's the trees and the plants. All the little plants reaching towards the sun are all reaching towards God. But when you get to the dirt, and you get to the things below the plants, dirt and rock and shit, that isn't particularly reaching towards God. It's reaching towards God in the sense that after it becomes conscious, which is essentially what birds people are, is just that after it becomes conscious, then it is reaching for white hole. But basically, I can only understand things that actively showed signs of life as white hole, and that left me sort of feeling, I couldn't understand how all of reality was a mixture of white hole and black hole. And now I do, and the way that it is because basically, like the quantum physics discovery, where it's like nothing exists without human interpretation. This is like the metaphysical version of that, where it's like this moment could only be experienced. Literally, you can only understand that dirt as dirt and see it as dirt because of white hole. You can only understand this present moment. You can only see the wall that you're looking at because you exist in the first place. If not, it would just be one thought texture. Literally one thought texture. You wouldn't even understand it was a wall or the floor. It would just be one thought texture. And it's because of you, you can even differentiate those thought textures. You are the divider. You are literally the thought texture differentiator. And it's like, that is white hole. And then the thought textures exist in the first place, even be seen because of God. And that's also, so you're white hole and you're black hole. And no matter what you see, whether it's inanimate or animate or living and displaying will's taste or, inanimate and not displaying will's whatsoever, either way, every single thing, every single little nuance thought texture, every single little thing in your brain, every little nuance down to the nth degree is all white hole and black hole clashing. Every experience you possibly have is black hole and white hole clashing. And even let's see, that's interesting thought. Right? How is even inanimate thought texture that is unperceived white hole? Let's see. Is it? So this is some interesting stuff right here. I looked up how are inanimate objects experiencing low power? To answer that question, because I knew Nietzsche had it. So I was like, let's see what Nietzsche can say. So basically, they said, there are two different answers. One of them was the rock still experiences an unconscious willpower. So in other words, like willpower is metaphysical. It's the underlying force. God runs it, and therefore the rock runs it. Not because the rock understands that it runs it, but because that's how God experiences it. And then the other answer was that rock can only exist because of millions of little particles holding themselves together. And why are they doing that? Because they experience the will's power. They're like building to be better. So that's pretty interesting. So I mean, will to taste. Basically, my thoughts on that. So will to taste collapses both forces into it. What does that mean? It's almost like before I was worried about everything collapsing into black hole and white hole collapsing into black hole. And now when you think about it from this perspective, it's like black hole now collapses into white hole, and all that exists is white hole. There's only will to taste. So what does that mean? So I'm just gonna go over a quick little history of how we got to this point. We started off with an ego is to taste. That one is clearly pointing out the same thing. An ego is to taste is basically just saying that to exist, you have to exhibit the will to taste. It isn't possible to think about it any other way. And that is to taste and be tasted, which are both poles of creation. So an ego is to taste is clear. Now the reason that one didn't work, it wasn't simple enough. There was just too much language packed into it, too much going on. So then we moved on to we eat. And that one was good, but it didn't quite work out because
is you have to like understand we. You have to be like, okay, we eat. Is a we breathing. So you have to understand a breathing was us eating, and that essentially fell through because of the same reason the last one fell through, which was okay. So breathing is white hole because it's a living thing trying to stay alive to reach for God. But then like okay, breathing is black hole because it exists. It's white hole because it's trying to reach for God. And then you try to eat everything from there, and then you like, try to reach out in the world, and you have to like actively think, there'd be like steps, little steps, trying to dissolve the world constantly. And then the last one was the wage war. And that one was like the same issue where it was like, okay, well what's we? And then when you figured it out, it works, but it's just a bit janky. I'll need to go more in depth and all that, but the point is then this one, which is to understand how it is a will to taste, understand how breathing is a will to taste, and to understand how everything else is a will to taste. It's just one thing. Understand will to taste. That's the command. Understand will to taste, and through that, everything else will come sweet and behind. So first of all,
that was September 19th, 2022. How long ago was that?
It was a year and like 3 months ago.
Yep. So a year and 3 months ago was the first time we ever had pure will to taste as a framework. So a year and 3 months ago is when I first got it, and then I've spent the last year and 3 months trying to get it fully fledged and functional, and now I finally do. So I said right before that voice message, I said. This is from the Nietzsche subreddit. Someone's comment was, furthermore, I can get how we could repeat Big Bang to Big Crunch eternally. Even if these theories don't hold up, in an infinite universe, I agree that recurrence is guaranteed. But Nietzsche's idea of constant change seems to imply, well, change. I don't know what the point of me sending that to you was, but it says, I said, haha, quoting you. So apparently that was something very similar to what you said. And then I say, will to taste is God, is everything. There is nothing but will to taste. Call tomorrow, metaphysics versus will to taste. Is God subsumed entirely by will to taste? Yes.
Big job at the illustrious HHM. Chance to play at the palace. Little old me. You have no idea what's going on. You're a teensy tiny man in a teensy weensy little bubble. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, don't you fucking owe Jimmy me. You look down on me, you pity me. Walk away. That's right, Howard. You know why I didn't take the job? Because it's too small. I don't care about it. It's nothing to me. It's a bacterium. I travel in worlds you can't even imagine. You can't conceive of what I'm capable of. I'm so far beyond you. I'm like a god in human clothing. Lightning bolts shoot from my fingertips.
I sent that. I said, I'm going to miss the show so bad. Jimmy, yes, Chad framework. Oh, we must have been through this chat before, because I remember us reading that, right?
I remember talking about the finger framework and not figuring out what we meant by that.
Interesting. So this must be our second time through this chat, I think, but that's fine because I'm honestly learning from it. So anyways, Jimmy S. Chad framework, that is such a fantastic line. Sol channeled that sub 1 energy. And am I correct that the framework has reverted back once more and is currently at simply will to taste? Is this in contrast or addition to me, you, and we? I say me, you, and we are all included in will to taste. Me, you, and we, you could say, is me would be left brain or white hole, and then you would be right brain or black hole, and we would be wormhole or both. You could still say that. So that's kind of interesting to see white hole, black hole, and wormhole live on through me, you, and we. I say, explain how the seeking of differentiation of forces was just trying to explain a will to taste. So now I'm saying Twin Peaks is just will to taste. True. That's literally something I've been thinking about the past couple days. That's what, like, the whole... that's actually what... what's it called? The aperion beam. That's what aperion beam's whole thing is that it's Twin Peaks is will to taste. It's not just will to taste, but it's the concept specifically of saying this is how Twin Peaks is saying will to taste. It's like the aperion beam is just saying that you're cutting from Xazix down to Zix, and if you're doing that, if you're shooting from God's perspective down to the human perspective, then what you're doing is you're understanding both poles, right? The poles are you, or like any conscious being, and then God, and like those two things are forced to forever fight against each other. Those are the two sides of the Great War, right? It is the things which will always be wanting a particular thing, and then the thing which will always want to be everything possible. So it's like there are the individuals anything which wants something, a bacteria, a tree, a fucking cow, a monkey, a pig, like an interdimensional, lizard, like no matter what it is, no matter what thing exists, every single thing that exists is going to, or every individual, I should say, everything which wants something in particular, everything which has its own visible will, right, separate from its environment, is going to want a particular thought texture. It's going to desire something in particular. And with that desire for something in particular, it has strayed from the desire for infinity, everything, the desire to expand. And that's what God is. So whenever you understand that there are two different poles, there is the pole which wants to be everything and the pole which wants to be individual things, then you understand the two poles which are the two poles of reality. You understand the twin peaks. You understand that these two forces wage war against each other across infinity. And then with that understanding, you can understand that everything is the will to taste. Because really, it's not just your will or just God's will. It's that they're the same will. It's that within God's will to be everything, there must be every individual thing wanting to be just a thing, right? Like, for God to be everything, you must have the individuals that want to be a bacteria, that want to be a tree, that want their own experiences, that want to selfishly make reality monotonous and bend entirely to their will and stop being everything else, stop giving them challenges, stop giving them obstacles, and just let them exist in bliss, right? Let them exist in where they want to exist. And with that desire, right, you think there's separation. You think that there's God's will to be everything, and you think that there's your will to be something. And really, that's the same will. With God's will to be everything, there has to be you wanting to be something. And so that is what the will to taste says, is that it's all the will to taste. The will to taste necessitates both of those. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying right here. And that's also what aperion beam's saying, right? As you cut across from God to you, you're making it one will. You're cutting the poles, you're cutting through them, and you're understanding them as one pole, one force, one thing. It's not two things smashing into each other. It's a torus, right? Explaining how the seeking of differentiation of forces was just trying to explain will to taste. Essentially, you are trying to reach the feeling. Always understand how breathing is will to taste. That's true and real. I've been focusing on that lately. That's why I did the whole day spent on understanding Larry's breathing. Understand how breathing and or lack of breathing is will to taste. Power versus perfection. Left brain versus right need both. Not the concept of breathing, the lifetime translation of what it feels like. The goal is everything, but thrashing also. Is silence the goal? God, these are lots of great questions. Every single one of these would make a great video. Just these questions metaphysically. Is silence the goal? That would be a great video. Lifetime breathing and how it's related to eating everything. Lifetime breathing and how it's related to eating everything. Reaching outwards to translate as much as you can. So translate is my new way of saying you're translating experiences into God's experience of them, or you're eating them, you're consuming them, you're understanding them as perfect. Right? So translating is translating your human perspective into God's perspective. You are targeting the feeling of breathing, not the concept. Therefore, you are eating the mind itself. Big if true. And it is. A bunch of exclamation marks. And that is so true and so important. That is literally the whole concept of revelometer. That's you go so far into appreciating that you appreciate the appreciating, and then your models collapse in on themselves. And that's literally what I'm talking about here. Yeah. You begin to eat the mind itself, as I say. So eloquently put.